Hey, what is up everybody? This is Tattoobart and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I got a really cool video because in my last video, you probably saw that I got a very nice care package from Phomemo, and this tattoo mini printer was one of them. This is a very small stencil printer. It's called the Phomemo Mini Printer TP31, and it comes with these little AF31 papers. They're almost the size of like a Polaroid picture, I guess. And yeah, they're 80 millimeters by 133 millimeters, just so you know the exact size. They're pretty small, and these would be amazing to do smaller tattoos because, you know, every time when I do larger tattoo printers, I always complain about what if you only do small tattoos. You waste so much of the paper and you have to play with your placement pretty much on your stencil paper, and after a while the printer is not really recognizing the paper anymore. So I think this is a very good solution if you do smaller tattoos. Maybe you do fine line tattoos, palm size tattoos, whatsoever, and you would just like to use a smaller Bluetooth printer. So without further ado, let's just dive down and have a look at this printer, see how to set it up, see how it prints, and see how it stencils. So let's dive down and have a look at this printer. So right here we got the Phomemo mini printer, the TP31. When you open the box, you will find a couple of small stencil paper sheets. They are nice and protected. We're gonna keep them in here for now. We have the printer itself and a charger cable, and of course a quick start guide right here, which we probably won't use. We're just going to use a trial and error for today and see how easy it actually is to set this up. So even though the printer is small, it is a little bit bulky. Of course, we need to put a battery in here somewhere, but it looks really nice. I really like that shiny top part. I think here we can adjust the paper somehow on the back. So let's say if you put something like sideways on the small paper, you can adjust it later to do an even smaller version of this. Do we open the lid manual? No, there should be a button. Yep, right here. And it opens up like that. And it closes. So really nice. It's not flipping this way, it's flipping all the way open like that. We can adjust the paper here. Oh, looks pretty sick. The printer plate is right here. There is no protection on it now, which was on the bigger ones. I'm not sure if I should take this off. I think so. Or maybe not, I don't know. So I think we do need to use the manual after all. Let's have a quick look. It didn't say anything about removing it, but I'm gonna do it anyways, because it looks strange to have a bit there. Can adjust it here. Oh well, okay. Right here on the side, we have a little power button that we can hold, and it will turn on the printer. Now we are going to use our iPad for this one. So we go into our iPad, and when we are here in the top, you can press to select the printer. The TP31 is right here, and we are going to connect it. Here we start with the butterfly. It's a little bit thicker. See, use print. Now we have to see, because yeah, right here the paper settings is on 1 by 1. I hope that is all gonna work out, because I have no clue how to set this app for the right paper. I do think it is set right here to 133 millimeters. So this should all be good. We're gonna use a heavy thickness. Okay, sure. Let's load some printer paper. It's a good thing I actually checked the manual, because we have to load this paper a little bit different than what I'm used to, because we have to put the blue paper up. So we have the really small transfer paper right here. We're gonna take out the protective layer, and we are going to take off the back part, and it's nice that they have a nice little cutting line on this paper so we don't shred this paper to pieces. There we go. It's very nice dark stencil paper, by the way. I noticed that on the bigger paper from Phomemo as well. It is not the very light blue-ish paper that you get most of the time when you have a printer from China. So that is very nice dark paper to come with the printer. So we are going to load our paper like this. I think it should go underneath there, and we can adjust it so it is nice and stuck to the sides. We're gonna close our printer and hope for the best. You can see that the green light is now on because it's connected. The paper is loaded. Let's see, we're gonna print. See how it turns out. It does make a very funny sound. All right, here it is. It did come out really small because it's very hard to see how big this actually comes out. Because it did print very small, but it did print very precise. So we have a nice print right here. Very cool, small, and very detailed for a small design like this. I do see it did put a little bit of ink in a spot where you don't really want it to be. Now a little trick is to grab a little bit of tape and actually press onto that little spot, and it'll remove the ink a little bit. But I'm really impressed with how detailed that is. On the last printer, I printed a couple of fonts, and the thin lines didn't come out as sharp as I want them to be. So I want to see if this printer, since it is such a small printer, is actually able to do that. Yeah, so now we're missing a little bit on the paper. It did come out a little bit better. Yeah. It does come out quite okay. But yeah, it is a small printer, but the really fine lines, it doesn't really recognize it. It's about the same as the other, like the big printer pretty much. But it is really cool because you do save a lot of paper when you are using this. Now let's see what else we can print on this to see how it works. Now let's say we have to do a really small doggy portrait with a little bit of a flower. It has some very dark spots and some fine lines and like some opening lines, and I just want to see how detailed it can actually print. Let's print. All right, see, I'm starting to get the hang of it. This is very small, but I do feel like there is a lot of people doing really small tattoos like this. So this is actually a pretty good printer. Once you got the hang of it, how it's working, how it's printing, how to size it up. I could have enlarged it a little bit. But yeah, it's a bit hard to see like the actual paper size. Now let's have a look at the print quality. Yeah, see, this is what makes me happy now. I was a little bit disappointed at first, but now I'm actually starting to get really happy. Because you can see pretty much all the detail that should be there on this print. There's a lot of nice dark areas. There's all the lines are there. Everything is there. Maybe just here in the little leaves, it did get a little bit clotted up. But that's okay. That's not the hardest thing to fix. But the rest, all the shades, like the little highlights even, are there. Nothing get too stuck together. It's especially for something that has so much detail and get printed so small. It is really impressive. It's really cool. So yeah, I really want to stick this one onto some practice skin with the tattoo balm that we got, with this care package and the practice skin that we got. So let's have a look at the practice skin and stick the stencil on there. So we're gonna apply just a little bit of the stencil stuff that came with the package, the transfer gel from Phomemo. It is actually really good. I've been using this in the studio and it works absolutely wonderful. It does work on the practice skin as well. So you want to make sure you rub that very nice and evenly. I always like to let that sit just a little bit so it gets nice and tacky. And then once you've done that, we are going to stick this on. And I always like to use a little bit of a paper towel to really press in there so you don't get any of the residue that you have on your hands, on your stencil, and make your stencil a little bit too wet. I think I have been pressing this a little bit too hard, but we will see. Probably didn't wait it long enough. It's alright, I probably should have waited a little bit longer, or actually rub my stencil in there a little bit better, because it is a little bit foggy, but it's still good enough. It's good enough. So we're gonna leave that on there. Now, if you are interested in seeing me tattoo this design, make sure to let me know in the comments and I will do a walkthrough on how to approach a piece like that. And we're just gonna go back up top and talk about this printer a little bit more. So that was a review of our Phomemo TP31, really cool printer. I have to say I had to get used to it a little bit and see how the measurements work. Now you are probably a lot better with working the ruler and things on the app like that than me. But it took me like 3-4 prints to kind of get the hang of it and see how big I can actually make things and print really cool designs. Now I do have to say the print quality, even in the small printer, is absolutely great. This printer does print a very crisp and nice quality. The butterfly came out super great, and it would actually be a lot better than if you use like a thermal printer where I don't know, it sometimes just gets too hot or it doesn't recognize the really small designs and it gets super blurry or super maybe too light or too dark. I don't know. I don't really like to use these thermal printers except for the very old thermal fax printers, because I have one in the studio and that one works absolutely amazing. But like I think it's the Brother and the Tim and printers like that is where, I don't know. I just keep struggling with it. So it's really nice to have a small printer if you have to do a small design, or maybe if you work the convention and you just do small designs for the convention, you don't work on any large pieces there or whatsoever. Work in a street shop and you do a lot of small designs. This printer is absolutely amazing to print your small designs without wasting too much of your stencil paper. You can have a look on the website. I also have a link in the description down below where you can find this little stencil papers that got with the package, like the really small ones. So you don't have to use the large papers. Now, if you have the large papers, I am pretty sure if you have the size reference from your of the papers that got with the printer, if you just trace them on a couple of them or you layer them on top of each other and cut them out, you pretty much have the same thing if you have some left over. Otherwise, just buy the small packs and they're a lot easier to use. Now, like I said in this video and in the video before about the printer, if you want me to do a walkthrough of the designs that we did on the practice kit today, make sure to let me know in the comments, because then I will do kind of an extended version of the Tattooing 101 series that I done on my channel, where I explain how to do certain things in tattooing, and we can also use these designs to go over a couple of things. So if you want to see that, make sure to let me know in the comments. And also, of course, have a look at that Tattooing 101 playlist that I have on my channel, so you can already kind of warm up for these designs if you want to see them. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot more to say other than I wish you all a wonderful day, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.